I've been talking a lot of shrimp lately, so I thought I'd make a quick video covering the most common types of aquarium shrimp that we keep in the hobby.
Subscribe to my channel.
Hello everyone, welcome back to Bob Moss Nano Tanks. Thanks so much for joining me today. Make sure to like this video and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. So as I said already, we're going to be talking just the basic types of aquarium shrimp that we keep in the hobby, the most common types of aquarium shrimp. Just a simple, quick video, and nothing too fancy or advanced here. I will start this with the precursor. I only keep Neocaridina myself, so I can show you footage and pictures of my Neocaridina, but for the other types of shrimp, I pulled some pictures off Google and I'll just do a quick little slideshow, and I'm gonna try and make this video as quick as possible, just to give you a brief overview of the different types of aquarium shrimp. So let's get into it. So the first type of shrimp, the most common type of shrimp you're gonna see in the hobby, is the Neocaridina, the Neocaridina Davidi. I believe there's one other name, I can't recall it right now. I already made a video more in depth on these guys, so let's go over it real quick. pH between 6.4 and like 8.5, temperature between like 18 degrees Celsius and 30 degrees Celsius, KH between 2 and 8, GH between 4 and 20, TDS between 120, 600. They need an inert substrate. It's good to add crushed coral. And these guys are just your basic, your cherry shrimp, fire red, painted fire red, blue jelly, blue dream, etc., Bloody Mary, green jade, Rillies. Besides the water conditions, the big difference between like Neocaridina and Caridina, I stated this in the last video, is the crossbreeding. If you crossbreed Caridina, you can get really cool color patterns and stuff like that. If you crossbreed Neocaridina, they do revert to the wild type eventually. If you keep mixing like blues and reds, they're gonna go to this weird mushy brown. So Neocaridina are considered a hard water shrimp compared to the Caridina I'm gonna talk about next, which are more of a soft water shrimp. And yeah, if you want a bit more detail, go watch my last couple videos where I talk about these guys more in depth. So the next shrimp I wanted to talk about are the Caridina, the bee shrimp, or the tiger shrimp. The tiger shrimp are Caridina, so excuse my pronunciation, but the tiger shrimp, I believe they're Caridina Mariae, and the bee shrimp are Caridina Cantonensis. Yeah, that's it. So these are soft water shrimp, as I already mentioned, so pH between like 5.5 and 7, KH of 0, GH 4 to 8, TDS 80 to 160, temp like 68 to 72 Fahrenheit. They do prefer colder temperatures compared to Neocaridina. These guys, you don't want to use the crushed coral with them. You want the active substrate. That's going to be what's buffering their pH. Tiger shrimp here, they can live in the lower end of the Neo parameters. And as I mentioned, it's the crossbreeding that's really cool with these guys. You can create really, really unique color lines and patterns, and you can technically create your own shrimp if you really, really want to, compared to the Neocaridina, where you're kind of limited to your color throws and things like that. But I do go into more detail in the previous video about these guys, so check that out. And we'll go on to the next one. So the next shrimp is the Sulawesi shrimp. These guys are really cool. They're a rare shrimp. They come from like 1 or 2 lakes in, oh God, what's the country? I forget the country. Sorry, I forget the country. But the Sulawesi, so they have multiple scientific names. The most common is the Caridina Dennerli. That would be the cardinal Sulawesi. There's also a Harlequin Sulawesi, yellow cheek, a blue-legged, etc. There's a bunch of different kinds of them. And the cool thing with these is they don't really interbreed with the other kinds. So if you get cardinal Sulawesi and like yellow cheek Sulawesi, they can stay in like the same parameters, but they're not going to crossbreed at all because they all come from the same lake area and they already don't crossbreed. So like, it's a really, really cool line of shrimp is what I'm trying to say. So they need a higher temperature, like 80 plus, so like 27, 28 Celsius. They need a higher pH, like 8 to 8.5, possibly even higher. You can put Neos with them. A lot of people start the tanks with like cherry shrimp because cherry shrimp are cheaper. So if the cherry shrimp live and breed, then they cull the cherry shrimp out of there and then put in the Sulawesi. You do need a different buffer with these guys compared to the Neocaridina. The Neocaridina, you'd use like GHKH plus. With the Sulawesi, you need the specific Sulawesi buffer to get that pH up to 8.5, and it does take longer to dissolve. So what I've seen, it was Mark's shrimp tanks. He used a soda stream to carbonate the water, and that helps dissolve it, and then you just like crack the bottle and let out the carbonation so the water goes flat, and it helps dissolve it. So these guys are really, really cool. They have really cool, like the the cardinal have really cool white arms that you see like moving around and stuff. They're just a really, really cool shrimp. Something I would really like to get one day. They do, so it's close to Neocaridina parameters, so 3 to 10 kh, 4 to 12 gh, I guess like a 6 to 8 is optimal. So those are like perfect Neocaridina parameters, and it's a 180 to a 220 TDS. The only difference, you know, is higher temp, higher pH. So if you do have Neocaridinas in the tank, they'll probably have a shorter lifespan because their metabolism will be sped up from that increased temperature. That's what I'm trying to say. All right, next up we have the Amano shrimp. I believe this is called a Caridina Multidentata. Correct me if I'm wrong, please. So these guys are a heavy algae eater. They're known as like the algae shrimp. They're larger than the other shrimps that I've mentioned so far. They're a bit more aggressive too. If you have Amanos like with your cherry shrimp, let's say, you need to feed them, you need to supplement their diet with heavy protein. Otherwise, they will hunt and kill the smaller shrimp. Some people say they won't, but there's plenty of video and photo evidence of this. They do. You need to give them high protein or not have them with other shrimp. Like if they're with fish, they can't really hunt fish. They might try and attack the fish, but the fish will just mess off. So they are a bit better for a community tank. And also with Amanos, you need a lid. They're gonna crawl out because they are like, I think they're about twice the size, if not almost 3 times the size of like a cherry shrimp. So with the cherry shrimp, you can have an inch and a half gap between the water line and the rim. With the Amano, you just need a lid because they're gonna crawl out and they're gonna kill themselves. So these guys are very versatile. They live in a wide range of parameters. Ideally, 70 to 80 Fahrenheit, it's like 22 to 26. pH 6.5 to 7.5 and a TDS of around 200. So they do live very well in Neocaridina parameters, but they can live in the higher range of the Caridina parameters. They can live in the lower range of the Sulawesi parameters. They're just a very good all-around versatile cleaner shrimp. Especially if you want shrimp with fish, this is the shrimp you're gonna get. Now, the one little quirk with these guys, they do carry like a lot of eggs, like big egg sacs, but they need brackish water for the larva. So as soon as those eggs hatch and the larva drop, they need to be acclimated into a brackish water. It's an extremely hard process. I'm not familiar with all the details. There are some guides online, but breeding a mono shrimp yourself is extremely difficult when compared to breeding any of the other ones that I've mentioned. All right, we're getting close to the end here. Next up, we have the Opa Ule, the Hawaiian shrimp, the lava shrimp. These guys live in brackish water, like lava rock pools in the islands of Hawaii. They're an endangered species. They're very unique. The aquarium hobby is actually helping to save these guys because obviously the urbanization of Hawaii and tourism, their natural habitats are starting to get destroyed. So we're actually doing a good service to Mother Nature by having these guys in the hobby. I really want some, but they're kind of hard to find right now, or maybe I haven't tried hard enough. And I mean, you need to set up the brackish water setup, so they are a bit more tricky, I guess. The cool thing with these guys, so they look very similar to like Caridina. Oh, I forgot their scientific name. Halocaridina Rubra is what these guys are called. And they look very similar to Neocaridina, as you can see. They kind of look like cherry shrimp. I mean, it's a bit different when you're in the macro lens, like some of these pictures. But when those eggs hatch, so they have big eggs, as you can see in some of the pics, which means smaller clutches, so they don't reproduce like crazy fast like Neos do. But they have a larval stage. So those eggs hatch, they're larval, and they just, oh, it's so cool. I think Mark Shrimp Tank actually has a video where he's showing the Opa Ule larval stage, and it's really cool. So these guys, for the most part, I think they need a brackish water tank. So you're not gonna have much plant life in there. You're not gonna have a lot of like driftwood or anything. You're just gonna have basically like empty tank, maybe like crushed coral substrate and like lava rock. And then obviously the brackish water. I've seen some setups like you don't even need a filter. I'm not sure. So I do have the water parameters here, but I'm not sure how important they are. I know the salinity is the really important thing. So what I found online was pH between 7.4 and 8.4, temp between 18 and 30 Celsius, TDS between 100 and 1500. That's because of the salinity. KH between 0 and 10, GH between 4 and 14. So it seems like those numbers don't seem to matter as much, but it's the salinity. So you need reef salt for these guys, and online it recommends a salinity. I'm not sure exactly what these numbers mean, which is why I haven't really pursued these guys, because I don't want to start doing something like without doing the proper research. It's something I am looking into more and more, but needs between a 1.008 and a 1.012 specific gravity salinity. Whatever that means, someone please explain that to me so I can start collecting and breeding these guys, because they are beautiful and they are so cool. All right, the final two shrimp, they are different but similar. We have the bamboo shrimp, Atyopsis Moluccensis. Atyopsis Moluccensis, probably pronounced that wrong. And we have the vampire shrimp, the Atya Gabonensis. So these guys are both big shrimp. They're, you know, they're huge. They're like, what are they full grown? Like 10 centimeters or something. They're big shrimp. They're fan feeders. So you can't, well, you can feed pellet food if you have other shrimp in there, but if you have these guys, you're gonna be feeding powdered food specifically for them, and you need good flow. They're like the bamboo shrimp they're less shy than the vampire. The vampire are more nocturnal. The bamboo shrimp are like a wood shrimp. So they're gonna go find a nice piece of driftwood in the high flow, and they're just gonna fan at the current. The problem with these guys is they're usually wild caught. So caught from the wild, it's more prone to disease. It might have parasites or disease when you bring it into your tank, so you're gonna wanna probably quarantine them. And then there's a high chance of early death because they don't like being in the tank because they're wild caught. These guys haven't been in the hobby for very long. They haven't been extensively bred in captivity, and a lot of them are still wild caught and then shipped around and not treated the best. So these aren't shrimp I recommend. I mean, if you look up anywhere, they're extremely hard on the difficulty, and I just don't really recommend them for most people, unless you like spending money, because these guys, I don't know. Some people have success. If you've had success with bamboo or vampire shrimp, let me know. So what I found online, like they need a harder water. They like Neocaridina type parameters. Temperature like 22 to 28 Celsius, pH 6.5-7.5, GH 6 to 8, KH 2 to 6, TDS 100 to 300. So these guys will thrive and live really well with like cherry shrimp or Neocaridina or Sulawesi even. They're also half decent in a community tank. The one thing, once again, is they're wild caught, so you have to watch out for the parasites. All right, so those are the 7 most common types of aquarium shrimp. Cool, I guess I'm done recording. Thank you so much for watching. Thanks for making it to the end. Make sure to like this video if you like this video. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't already for more shrimp and nano tank content. It's Shrimpcember, so I guess this is what I'm doing this month. Leave a comment if you have any questions about the different types of shrimp, or if I got something wrong. I do like to know when I'm wrong, guys. Is that everything? Yeah, that's everything. All right, remember, keep your shrimp hands strong. Till next time. So we've been talking shrimp lately. So I've been talking shrimp lately. I thought I'd make a quick video covering just the different types of aquarium shrimp. The basic types, different, more common, most common. So I've been talking a lot of, oh no, I hit the thing. So I've been talking a lot of shrimp lately. I thought I'd make a quick video covering the different types, the most common aquarium shrimp that oh my God. I need to write down what I say. Which tank is more lively? Which tank is more lively? Tank. Oh, that glare though. Let me get this. This. Yeah. These guys are just kind of, you know, your basic, your cherry shrimp. These guys are just your, wow. Neocaridina, I guess. I'll just go over real quick. That's that. I guess now's a good time to do an outro too while it's filming.